My ex-husband is a Uper, so I have feelings. Why don't we call the meeting to order? It's 9:01. We have a quorum. And let's pull up a roll call. We have all of the members of the audit committee attending via internet conference. And then we also have Dr. Menzel, CFO Crozier is on the line. Dr. Cruz is on the line as well. Am I missing anybody? Gladys, I know you're here as well.
I am.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yep, you got it. Okay, so the first item on the agenda is approval of the prior meeting minutes from December 12th of 2025. Can I get a motion to approve the prior meeting minutes?
So moved.
All right. And Mr. Klonowski, a second?
Second.
All right, Ms. Beasley. I will call for the vote. All in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion carries. All right, number 4 on the agenda is discuss the applicants for the vacant audit committee position and confirm recommendation to the governing board. So this is an action item, and just as a summary, we have 3 candidates from our last meeting, Ben White, Glenn Evans, and Derek Hampshire. In our last meeting, we all talked about, based on their applications, they appeared to be qualified for the role, but we perhaps needed to have a conversation with them to kind of suss out if there was a difference between them as applicants. Just as a discussion of the process we took, I reached out to each one of the 3 of them via email. They all responded to me quickly. I had very brief conversations with them earlier this week in which we discussed their background, their qualifications and experience, their current positions and roles, their interest in the audit committee, the scope of the work that we do on the committee, including a description of what our charter says. I made clear that we like to have our meetings in person and discuss the time commitment associated with that. And then we had a conversation about the things that they thought we should be focusing on. I put them all on the spot. Based on that, I wrote a very quick summary that I circulated to individuals on the audit committee. And so hopefully everyone's had a chance to review and read that, and more than happy to open up for conversation if you have any questions for me, or if you want to talk about what I wrote in the memo.
Yeah, I guess.
Sarah, can you please, I checked a couple times for a summary. I did not receive anything. So Can you recap what you discussed with these people?
Oh, that is weird. Okay, so we, yes, I don't know why you didn't get it. I sent it to your email address, but I'll tell you, let me pull it up really quick. Just bear with me for a second.
I got an email from you saying you were going to be talking to them, and then I responded, and then I didn't get anything after that. So
okay, I actually sent it before you responded to that. But I don't, maybe it got trapped in spam. But I'll tell you. So
do you want me to share? Do you want me to share a screen? I have it up here while we talk.
Is that acceptable?
So we can do that. Jennifer McLennan had reviewed and said there might be some material that could be considered confidential. So that's I don't know what she was referring to specifically. That would be my only concern.
Okay. Maybe we just walk through it. Bear with me for 1 second, Jeannie. I'm going to see if I can send it to you again.
Jeannie, are you at the Yahoo address?
Either way, I mean, I checked because I thought,
I'll send one to Yahoo, and
you could do that,
Sarah,
or the Gmail one, whatever you want to do. Or like I said, just recap what you talked to these guys about.
Yeah, I had sent it to the Gmail address, so maybe the Yahoo address is where it should go, but I'll give you the brief summary. So just on background and qualifications, Ben White, they're all 3 of them are CPAs. So that's a evener. Ben White and Derek Hampshire have both financial firms, audit firm experience, and inside company audit experience. Ben White worked for Arthur Andersen and EY, and then went in-house to Black & Decker, and is now, and has led various public and privately backed companies. both internal and external audits. So financial audits, operational audits. Glenn Evans is a partner at KPMG. Well, they call them managing directors. His career has been inside audit firms. He does do sort of operational audits, but his expertise is primarily financial audits. And then Derek Hampshire was also at EY, and he then moved to CVS Caremark in the internal audit department and is now at Honor Health. And he's had various positions at Honor Health, including financial planning and analysis. He was the controller. He also does work for Honor Health's nonprofits. So he sits on some of their nonprofit boards. They're like captive nonprofit boards. All three of them have audit committee experience for their clients. Ben White also sits on nonprofit boards. I know he put it in his application. I think it's like the Phoenix Center for the Arts. I don't have it right in front of me right now, but both Ben and Derek have nonprofit board experience, whereas Glenn doesn't, or didn't talk about it. All three of them have children in the district. They currently attending schools. They are all three said that they were very motivated to give back. The reason they wanted to join the committee is because two of them said their wives are on PTAs at their kids' schools and they felt like they wanted to give back too, and they wanted to use their strengths and expertise in that way to give back, and they felt like this was a good fit. And the other one just says he wants to give back to the community, and his kids are at SUSD schools. I did, Jeannie, if you get the memo, you'll see like I did sort of an overall comparative summary of them. From a financial expertise side, my perspective was that Ben and Derek had the highest ratings, only because Glenn had never been in-house at a company. From an internal audit experience, both Ben and Derek were very high. Glenn not as high, again, because of his because he had spent all of his career at KPMG. On the public board experience side, I thought that Ben was really high. He has a lot of high profile board experience. Derek was high, and then Glenn was sort of the medium side. The big differentiator from my perspective was preparation. Derek came to the interview extremely well prepared. He had listened to our last meeting, and had also dug up our audit committee meeting minutes for the last several meetings. So he had an understanding of the work that we've already done, and candidly, like he showed a ton of initiative from my perspective, in looking up all of these things. He was very eager, very assertive. Ben, lots of experience, very understated, like really understated. And then Glenn was extremely affable. He was very good to talk to. Like I think he'd be a good fit from a personality perspective. But yeah, it's like from an experience perspective, they're all overqualified for this role, all three of them. Ben probably has the most experience, and then Derek, and then Glenn third. But from a sort of taking initiative and eagerness perspective, I felt like Derek was sort of head and shoulders above the other two. So that's pretty much what I wrote in the memo. Happy to take questions or hear other people out.
Yeah, so if I could provide some input, unless someone else wants to ask questions right away, I'm happy to wait.
Go ahead, Jason.
Hearing no objection. So I want to be fully transparent, is that I didn't dive as deep on the other two because their publicly available information wasn't as available on LinkedIn specifically. And so when I went on Derek's LinkedIn, I was like, oh, I think I know somebody that knows him. And I called that person and they said, comes from a great family. I've known him since I was a kid. He was always super reasonable, super nice, super kind, and came from a great family, has a great family, is these are my words, a reasonable man in an unreasonable world. doesn't have any particular agenda, just is really a measured human. And I don't know that this has any real meaning, but because he's got a background in healthcare, and I know healthcare is an issue of the day, that there might be some insights that he has as a provider, whereas we are all kind of consumers, that it might be an interesting skill set that we could tap for the immediate questions that might be in front of us on that issue. And then obviously the fact that he was prepared. I think Jeannie pointed out that his application initially was pretty sparse, which I kind of held against him. But then, hearing that his prep was, you over prepared, gave me, some real confidence that, okay, well, he did the thing. So on balance, coming to this meeting, I was kind of leaning towards Derek, not knowing what anybody else's input would be, but I just thought I would say that out loud because I was able to find information on him, obviously healthcare, and then the feedback I got from someone that I have known for a very long time and trust very much that he was a reasonable person, gave me and I said, if I scored everybody, it'd be like 92, 90, 88, and Derek would be a 92, all very high marks. But, if I had to give an edge to somebody, it would be Derek at the moment.
So just my thoughts. I mean, I had done research on what I had considered the top people, top 5. So I didn't feel the need to do that again. And I didn't see anything negative, or I would have brought it to the committee's attention. Without seeing your memo, Sarah, with you summarizing, it seems like you're leaning toward Derek. I really do like the comments about him being very prepared. I think that's important that he, made that initiative and clearly wants to be part. I'm sure all 3 of them do, but that's just a extra boost there that shows he really wants to be part of this and really really participate. I mean, that's what I'm looking for, right? Aren't we all looking for that with somebody? So again, they're all obviously very qualified to work with us and provide good input. But again, there's just a few things there that you pointed out that I think are very important. And so I would probably be interested in him being, joining us, but unless somebody feels differently.
Mike, what's your opinion, Mike?
So I don't know if I have an opinion just because I'm not voting on this round, but 2 things I do want to say. One, I love the fact that we've got such qualified applicants for this position.
Yeah.
I think that says a lot about us as a district. So kudos for that. And then second, Sarah, just 10 out of 10 for you on this document. Like I always say, hey, can you give me a 2-pager on this? Can you give me a 2-pager on that? And you gave a perfect 2-pager. So I just want to say thank you on that. And I don't have a say in it, but I'm 100% aligned with the comments I'm hearing, just FYI.
Perfect. I feel like we're all sort of on the same page. I think our next step is to vote to make a recommendation. Dr. Menzel, does that sound right?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
A motion and a second on identifying who you're going to recommend to the board.
Okay. So
I guess before we take that vote, I'm just curious, Dr. Menzel, whether you have any input that is appropriate to this matter.
So I would say that I think we have 3 strong candidates, so I would not object to any one of the 3. I did have someone who knows Derek who just reached out to kind of confirm what you've all already said. So it was just reinforcement of the analysis. But I would have no opposition to any of the 3. And for me, the technical expertise and the fact they have kids in our system, those are all positive as well. I think they're going to bring value to the work of the committee.
excellent. Okay, so I think that I
have one quick question. Sorry, Sarah, did you get the impression from Derek that he would be, obviously we have meetings just like this through Teams, that he'd be willing to the majority of meetings, that he has the ability to participate in person?
Yes, I specifically asked that question, and because he had watched the last meeting, he knew why I was asking. So, yeah, I was like, we like to be in person. We don't like to do this over Zoom because it's really hard to connect with people. And he was like, no, totally fine. I got it. And, I talked to all three of them about that, and they were all comfortable with it. But yes, I made sure to confirm that.
Thank you.
Yep, you got it. I kind of told them like, I feel like we're trying to find the drummer for Spinal Tap. Like for whatever reason, we can't seem to keep this last person. So like, I was like, are you going to stay? Like, if we appoint you, will you stay, please? And they all seemed like they wanted to do that. So I'm going to hold them to that.
I mean, it's sad. The whole Rob Reiner story is sad, but that's another reason that I need to go revisit that movie because I understand the reference, but I need to refresh my memory.
Yeah. It's a terrible story, but yes, they could never keep a drummer, just like we can't keep our fourth civilian member of this committee. I don't know why, we just can't. Because we've been like the Three Musketeers for a really long time. So let's see if we can get a fourth in here. Okay, so I am going to ask someone on the committee to make a motion that we will recommend Mr. Hampshire to the governing board for the open position.
Jason will do that. I'll make a recommendation that I'll make a motion that we recommend Derek Hampshire to the board for membership on the audit committee.
Get a second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Wait, Sarah, I didn't hear your vote.
Oh, aye.
Okay.
My vote's on with it unanimous. Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
And just for the record, I think, Mike, you said you abstained, so that's a 3-0-1.
So then our next step with that, Dr. Menzel, is do I have to put something formal in writing to the governing board, or is it enough that Mike has been in the meeting and that the governing board gets our meeting minutes?
Yeah, I'll work with Gladys. We'll write up the agenda items so that that'll be there, and we'll follow Jennifer's recommendation on sharing your analysis with the full board. And then Mike can speak to it at the board meeting on the 6th.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask if there's if there's stuff that's in there that's deemed confidential, would it be appropriate for me to have a conversation with council about what's confidential and revise the memo? I'm happy to do that, but I don't know if that's the right step to take.
Yeah, I would probably have that conversation. I did not ask the question. I just saw the comment. And so
Okay.
I think that would be good because then we eliminate any of concerns about that.
Okay, I'll make a note about that. Okay, got that. All right. Having done that, the next meeting or the next item on the agenda is just to confirm the next meeting date, which is January 16th at 10 a.m. I think last time we already discussed what agenda items we want to discuss at that meeting. Plus, we'll be hopefully welcoming a new member. I think that's just an action item. We don't need to vote on when the next meeting is, right?
That's
Since
correct.
we already agreed. Okay, perfect. Well, then the last.
Could I ask a question?
Yes.
And I don't know that it's appropriate given the open meeting law, but is there a way that we could add to the agenda other business in case something comes up between now and then that we should address?
So here's what we can do in working with Sarah. If something emerges between now and the start of the year, when we work to finalize the agenda, other business would still have to be specific enough for anyone who's looking at the agenda to know what we're going to talk about. But we have the ability to do that within 24 hours of the agenda posting. And so we could do that. We would just have to be a little bit more specific than other business.
Understood.
And if any member of the audit committee has a specific topic that they'd like to put on the agenda, you just need to email Sarah and me, and we can work to incorporate that.
Perfect.
Great. I don't know. I mean, I'm planning on rewatching the entire board meeting with the school closure discussion. And I guess I'm specifically wondering if there's anything that we should contemplate, not that we aren't charged to contemplate, but, just have a catch-all there in case something is asked of us. And Dr. Menzel and Mike, in greater detail than I do where that sits as to whether there would be something for future consideration for us to contemplate as it relates to the plan, in 2026 or 2027. I know we haven't been asked to do anything yet, but I also feel like based on some of what I've watched that there may be some questions that we will be asked or could ask. Is there any input you can provide on that? And I'm happy to say, we're not wading into that pool until asked, or if at all. I'm just curious.
So I'll give my opinion because
So I just, before we do, I want to be very careful because we've not agendized to talk about this. And so since Jennifer's not here, I would just guide us to be very careful about any substantive conversation because it wasn't posted for the audit committee.
Fair point. Would that trigger open meeting law if I called Mike off on the side to ask his opinion? Okay, no. Mike, I'll reach out to you then directly and just get your opinion on that matter.
You got it.
All right, thanks.
All right, but yeah. Okay, if I just want to echo Dr. Menzel, if we have topics we want to bring up at the next meeting, including this topic, I think we should, feel free to email me. I know I can speak for the entire committee when I say we all got on this committee for a reason and we're all available and more than willing to help dig into whatever needs to be dug into if you need extra sets of hands.
And that is appreciated.
Yes, agreed.
Definitely.
Yep. All right. All right. With that said, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing none. This meeting is adjourned at 9:23.
Great.
Thank you.
Have a great holiday season, everybody.
So
Happy
nice to know
holidays,
technology
everybody.
worked.
Same. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.